Okay, section 27's a real short section. Basically, it's just equations that may not look quadratic, but when you start to manipulate them, they become quadratics. All right. So the goal here is basically to do the problem set. All right. There's very little to say about this, other than the fact that you may look at these things and say, I don't think I can do this. We don't give you problems you can't do. All right. So we're going to go through the problem set. It's going to be really that simple. All right. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to switch over to the whiteboard. There's not many problems to do, be very short. But again, when I say it's very short, you need to study the material, practice problems. The more practice you put in, the better. All right, let me do another share with you. Give me 1 second. And I got to get there, right? And let's take a look. And I'm going to just pull a problem to the side. And they want me to solve this question over here. Pull it aside. And let me see if I can do it. All right. So I want to remind you that we've done things like this in the past. And I'm not going to say this is clearly not a quadratic equation. It's a root problem. And what was our technique for root problems? Well, our technique was to isolate the radical. And how'd you do that? Well, you would subtract x from both sides. I'll write that down for you. All right. What would you get? Well, if you did that on the left side, the radical becomes isolated. It's the root of x minus 5. And on the right side, you would get 7 minus x. Then what do we recommend you do? Well, our recommendation was to raise both sides of the equation to the radical's index, in this case, the square root. So it's going to be a 2. And what would you get? Well, left side's really simple, x minus 5. For the student struggling with this, write this down twice. And I hope you're not struggling at this point. Whoops, I got excited there. We'll just give you 7 times 7 is 49. Minus 7 minus 7 is minus 14x. Minus x times minus x is plus x squared. Now I start seeing quadratics. I didn't see it before. Now I'm seeing it. What am I going to do now? Well, I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And I'm going to add 5 to both sides. As I do this, I'm going to write this in a standard way. X squared minus 15x plus, that would give me 54, right? All right. Now, someone says, what's your favorite technique for solving quadratic equation? I have to say factoring is. If factoring doesn't work, I would go to completing a square if it's in the proper form. And if that wasn't a proper form, then I'd go to the quadratic form. The quadratic form is the last time I list, by the way. Let's write this down. What do you get? 0 equals, I'm going to try factoring, right? 0 product rule. And what'd you get there? Looks like 9 and 6, right? Minus, minus. And what's the answer over here? X equals 9 or X equals 6. I'm hoping you have some memory from last time that we've done these problems that we said that you probably should check them. And I'm going to check one at a time. We check this one and this one. 6 looks easier for me to check. And what would you get? I want to point out we're checking it here. And what would you get? Again, we're checking. Let's see, 6 minus 5 is 1, right? Square root of 1 is 1. 1 plus 6. Gee, that worked. I know 6 works. Let's see if 9 works. Let's see, 9 minus 5 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. That clearly doesn't work. 2 plus 9 is not equal to 7. So this is no good. Extraneous. What's the answer? X equals 6. Let's go back to the key, and I want to make sure that they have that answer listed for me. And they do. All right, let's go to number 2. I'll put it on the side for you. Give me 1 second. And I want to do this one over here. Now, what's nice about this problem, it's written and it's in a nice standard form. The radical's isolated, and I think I can go by taking this, raising both sides of the equation to the radical's index, which is 2. And what would you get? On the left side, you would get 2y minus 1. On the right side, if you struggle with this, write it down. It's y minus 8 times y minus 8. That would give you y squared. Well, minus 8 is minus 16y. That's not bad. Plus 64. What would I do now? I would subtract 2y from both sides, and I would add 1 to both sides. And again, I'm hoping things work out nicely. Not that they always work out nicely, but I'm hoping for them to work out nicely. Y squared minus 18y plus 65. All right. Again, I'm going to try factoring. If it doesn't work, you know what? It doesn't work. I would go on to completing the square next, if it's in proper form. And then I would go into quadratic formula last. I would try the quadratic formula. I'm hoping factoring is going to work though. And the reason it's the easiest way to go. It's the first method we had. Same method used in lower level courses or other schools you might have attended. And I'm looking at that, I'm saying 13 and 5. Make sure it works. Y times y is y squared. Minus 13 minus 5 is minus 18. That worked. And minus 5 times minus 13 plus 65. Answers are super simple. What are they? Y equals 5 or y equals 13. All right, I want to just scoot this up here, and I want to write the original problem down for you. And I'm going to erase my work on it. I'll just write it down again for you. The original problem is this over here. All right, I'm going to check it. Let's check this guy first because it's a small number. I think I can handle it. And I'm going to check it. And what do you get? Well, on the left side, you get 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3. On the right side, what do you get? 5 minus 8, which is minus 3. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put that down. Minus 3. 5 minus 8 is minus 3. This didn't work. I'll cross it off. Let's try this one. All right, I don't know. Maybe it does work. So what do you get? 2 times 13 is 26. 26 minus 1 is 25. The square root of 25 is 5. Let's see, 13 minus 8 is going to be 5. This worked. Let's go back to my answer key. This is problem number 2. And I'm hoping to see that answer. And I do see that answer. All right. These are quadratic in form when I start to manipulate them. Let's go to the next page. And we'll start with number 3 now. Now, number 3, I realized for a lot of students, no, this doesn't look like I can do this one. Of course you can do this problem, right? Of course you can do it. You got to stop saying I can't. You got to start saying I can and I'm willing to try. Pull this on the side. Whoops, sorry about that. Blow it up. And you know what? There's 2 radicals. One is already isolated though. So I'm going to go with it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to square both sides. I know it's tough. Let's go through it. So on the right side, you get 5x plus 4. On the left side, I want to be honest with you. Some students struggle with this. If you're not struggling with it, though, that's good for you. If you are struggling with it, it's worthwhile to struggle. And you want to make sure you struggle over time, your struggles come easier and easier for you. All right. So what's the first product going to give me? 4x. Right? 4x. That's not so bad, right? Then what do you get? Plus 2 root x. Plus 2 root x. I know it's work. Plus 1. Well, I think you know my goal is to isolate the radical, but I got some work to do over here. This is 4 root x plus 4x plus 1 equals 5x plus 4. It's frustrating, I know, but we want to work. What do you have here? Subtract 4x from both sides and subtract 1 from both sides. What would you get? You get 4 root x. Well, that's not so bad. And we get the other side, x plus 3. Now, granted, the radical is not isolated, but I don't want to divide 3 by 4 because it would make it a fractional problem. So what I'm going to do is just raise both sides to the power 2. I think it's going to be relatively easy to do. You would get 16x on the left side. On the right side, again, if you're struggling with this, I want to write down what you should write down. It's x plus 3 times x plus 3. That would give you x squared. 3x and 3x is 6x plus 9. All right, things are getting easier because I'm moving forward. Subtract 16x from both sides. And I'm hoping it's going to be a very simple problem. 0 equals x squared minus 10x plus 9. I'm going to try to factor it. Again, my goal is I'm going to try to factor. If it doesn't work, I'll move on to another process. Let's see, it looks like 9 and 1 minus minus. Does that work? You do get x squared. You do get minus 10x. You get plus 9. What's the answer to this equation? X is 1 or x is 9. You should always bear in mind that these may not be correct answers, and that's why we want to check it. So where am I checking? The original problem. I'll write this down for you. The original problem is 2 root x plus 1 equals the square root of 5x plus 4. Scoot this over here, and let's do one at a time. Let's try this because I think it's going to be easy. You would get 2 times the root of 1, which is 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1. What do you get on the right side? 5 times 1 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3. This definitely worked. No doubt about it. 2 plus 1 does equal 3. Let's try this. Don't give up so easily. What's it going to give you? Well, on the left side, the square root of 9 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So it gives you 6 plus 1. What do you get on the other side? Well, let's see. 5 times 9 is 45. 45 plus 4 is 49. The square root of 49 is 7. That works too. Both answers work. All right, let's go back to the key, and I want to make sure those answers are staring at me, which says the answer should be 1 or 9. And I'm seeing that right over here. All right, let's go to number 4. And, somebody looking at number 4 saying, I wonder if I can do that. Of course you can do that. Set them aside. I'm going to blow this thing up a little bit. And I'm going to try to do it. And how do you do that? It's from the past. It's a rational equation. I'll write the LCD down for you. Whoops, I'll go back to black ink. The LCD is x, 2x minus 1. What do you do with the LCD? You multiply every term by the LCD or multiply both sides by the LCD. Well, let me do that for you. 3 over x, that's the only term on the left side, times x, 2x minus 1. Now, some students may argue, I can do that without writing it down. I'm not denying it. Just do it. I'm writing it down, though, for the students that need it. What happens nice here? Factor x cancels off over here, and this factor cancels off. Let's go through the work. And what do you get over there? Distributive property, 3 times 2x is 6x. Minus 3 times minus 1 is minus 3. What do you get on the right side? Well, 2x squared minus x. That wasn't so bad. And then you get plus 2x. Let's keep going. 6x minus 3. 2x squared. Let's see, that would be plus x, right? Subtract 6x from both sides. Fairly easy to do. And add 3 to both sides. Again, fairly easy to do. What do you get? Well, on the left side, you get 0. On the right side, you get 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. Again, my assumption is, I don't know. I try factoring. If it doesn't work, I don't think I would do completing the square, but you could. I'd go right to the quadratic formula. If I can try factoring, who knows? Maybe it's going to work. Factoring really requires using finger numbers now. Let's see, 3 and 1, right? Nah, it's not going to work, that one, is it? I'm going to see if that works. 2x times x, 2x squared, minus 2x, minus 3x, minus 5x, that worked, and you do get plus 3. Let's keep going. This is an OR problem. The second factor, x minus 1, becomes 0 when x equals 1, and 2x minus 3 becomes 0 when x equals 3 over 2. I'm not saying it's a right answer, by the way. All I'm saying is I know what my answers should look like. And I'm looking at the original problem, and I want to check this one first. And what do you get? On the left side, if it's 1, you'd get 3. Equals 1 plus, what do you get there? 2. Write that down for you. A little complicated. And then what do you get? 2 minus 1, which is 1. And this is 3 equals 1 plus 2. Clearly works. This is beautiful. It works nicely. Let's try the 3/2. Again, if you're struggling with arithmetic, well, I would say practice, but you might want to also, if you're on exam and you're totally exhausted, just move on. All right. I want to check it though. Yeah, it requires arithmetic. 3 divided by 3/2 is going to be the number 2. What's 2 times 3/2 is 3. What's 3 minus 1 is 2. What does this give me? 2 equals 1 plus 1. This also works. I got 2 answers. They both check beautifully. My key is going to have these 2 answers unless I've done something completely wrong. Okay, what's your obligation now? I want to emphasize this. Your obligation is to move forward. All right, we want you to move forward. What does that mean? You start doing homework. Before you do the homework, you may want to review the problems we just presented to you, but the problems that follow are almost identical to the problems that we just presented to you. All right, almost identical. Do the homework. If for some reason you cannot do the homework, you need to come by during office hours where I will be more than happy to help you learn the material. All right. You can also see tutor at Essex College, but you have to try. All right. Let me call this quits and we'll see you next time.